All right, what is up, everybody, and welcome into this week's edition of the South Florida Comedy Calendar. This show that is your one-stop shop for everything in South Florida comedy, guys. I am your host, Sebastian Alvarez. I'm a local comedian down here in South Florida. I also work at the Miami Improv, and I am joined today not only by a fantastic guest, but also by my co-host, as I am every single week, guys. Give it up for my man, Art Roche.
Sebi, this is our Easter episode, man. It's Easter week, brother. You're planning on going to church? You're gonna take care of business? Everyone knows this Easter is gonna be April 20th, so I will spend all day in deep meditation. I will. It's a very special Easter for me. So if anyone wants to celebrate with me, hit me up. I'll be out there.
Absolutely, and as we all know, Art only celebrates Easter outside. There you go, guys. If you want to celebrate Easter with Art, you can follow him at the tag that you saw, at the handle on Instagram, and just send him a DM. You know, what we don't want is for people to be alone on the holidays. That's what we don't want, because there's nothing more lonely than being alone on the holidays. So hit up Art Roche, the loneliest man alive. Anyway, guys, this is a really, really great and fantastic episode of the Comedy Calendar, guys, because we have a really, really special guest, and I want everybody here in the studio audience at the community newspapers right now to put your hands together and start clapping it up for our guest, Dean Rashdi. Yeah, man.
Was that Easter invitation real?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh shit, just handing out Easter invitations.
Yeah, absolutely. I was gonna say, not to ruin the guest intro, I was gonna say our famously Christian guest for Easter.
That's just because I really look like Jesus. That's why.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Do you get a lot of like extra fanfare? You get people coming up to you like, "Oh my God, he's risen!"
All the time. Sometimes I even play with it a little bit.
You try and get a free meal out of it. You're like,
crackers or something.
Nice, yeah.
Does work.
Yeah. Unlimited wine, this guy.
Yeah.
This guy. But yes, guys, we have Dean in here. We're going to talk to him a little bit more about his comedy career and kind of what he's got going on right now throughout the end of the show. But before we get into that, we're going to quickly run through what was happening last week in South Florida comedy, because we had a really, really fun week of comedy. Starting off over on Monday of last week, we were out in Bay Club at Miami Beach on Collins, guys, and it was a really, really great show. Art, you were actually on the show. How did it go? What went down?
Dude, it was amazing. Will and Dr. Alex Maurizio, man, they put the best show together. We had Amber Joy Lane hosting, and she kicked off the night. It was dope, man. With Luis Diaz headline, he did probably about 45 minutes to an hour. Just
nice.
Absolutely blew the room out. Like, it was amazing. It was cool, man. It was a cool hang. The food was amazing. I love that place. So every other Monday, if you get a chance, come out, say what's up to Will. If you want, reserve a table, because at this point, every other week, it's standing room only. I mean, we got people that are walking by the sidewalk that stop in to watch the show. So hit Will up. He'll make sure you get taken care of.
Absolutely. Dean, you've done Bay Club before, correct?
Yeah, actually, when I first started, oh my God, it was one of those shows too that was like really prestigious, right? And I was so excited to get up on there, and I was gonna be performing with Esther Koo and Jay McCord, two of like the biggest comics down here in South Florida too. And Esther Koo, she travels a lot. I was so excited. Yeah, I get there and my car, because my Integra, it's like really low, and I get there and I hit something like a pothole, and my radiator or my oil pan, sorry, it just pops, and so. The entire night, just like I'm up there in my set being like, fuck this shit. I don't even want to tell jokes right now. My car's getting towed right now. It was terrible, man.
Damn.
Yeah. But the show itself, I mean, everyone else did great. And like you said, like standing room back then too. Yeah, they do like a really good job over there.
Yeah, they just celebrated 8 years.
That's right. Yeah. One of the longest running shows in South Florida comedy, but also some of the best food. You had said you hadn't had the pizza when you went. You were. I can see you wouldn't have an appetite. You're thinking about. You're counting dollars at that point.
I know. Dude, I was like, I gotta pay for the tow truck. Like, yeah,
I gotta pay for a new oil tank. Like, damn, bro, shit. No, but next time you're on that show, I'm sure if you reach out to Will, he'd love to have you on there. But you definitely got to get the pizza. We talk about it every time because it's just that legendary. Lucali's Pizza, man. It is some of the best in the city.
I'm a big pizza aficionado.
Oh,
actually, I recently just tried deep dish pizza for the first time.
Damn.
I am now a deep dish lover.
Wow, authentic. Were you in Chicago?
Yeah.
Nice. So
Nice.
that's how it has to be. If you're not in Chicago and you try deep dish pizza, have you really tried deep dish pizza?
Well,
It's just regular pizza, but just a little bit thicker. It's not
Yeah.
deep.
yeah, no.
The Midwest has got some pretty fire deep dish. Ohio's got some pretty good deep dish as well. So it's
Oh, okay. Yeah, you would talk about Ohio.
yeah.
The worst state.
Yeah.
The worst, like literally 50 on the list, dog.
There's worse states, bro. You haven't traveled enough.
I think you've traveled too much.
Okay, that's fair.
You've been to Ohio, dog.
Who goes to Ohio, man?
Yeah, no. I also, the only time I've done comedy outside of the state was Ohio. Thank you,
Yeah.
Ohio.
Shout out Columbus.
Shout out Columbus, Ohio. Very great people out there. It's actually a fun place.
Yeah, actually talking a lot of shit, but Columbus is a very great spot for comedy.
Yeah.
Very great spot.
Mhm. They have a funny bone there, don't they?
Yeah, Funny Bone. Don't Tell recently filmed a bunch of their new specials up there.
Oh, nice.
They,
Oh, dope.
they're and there's so much comedy clubs in the area.
Mhm.
It's from like any comedian like that drop. They always talk say like that place is the best.
Columbus, that is the gateway to the West.
Yeah. Speaking of Ohio, Cleveland also got a shout out on the show by Jay Moreno. Remember that? Where
Oh,
he's
that's right.
like,
Yeah.
he's like a comedy show is like under the bridge somewhere. There's like crackheads outside.
Hilarity or something.
I think so. I think he was talking about a club that he did that he was like, yeah, I had to go like under a bridge, and I was like, what,
Shout out to
where
Ohio,
could that
man.
have possibly been, dude?
Ohio.
The comedy club or just under
Yeah,
a bridge?
yeah. I was like, dude, like, is this some kind of
This
like
booker
pop up show?
lured me.
He promised me $50 and a beer.
Hey, shout out Ohio, the Florida of the Midwest.
There you go. That's
I like-
wow. Very, very insightful words. Ohio, the Florida of the Midwest. Jesus Christ. No, but definitely next time you're out there, if you are an aficionado of the pizza, you gotta go up to Lucali's and just try it. Like get a slice. It is top notch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Top freaking notch, man. But moving on though, we also last week had at the Miami Improv on Wednesday, we had the Have Nots comedy present an amazing show that I was able to be lucky enough to be a part of. I was hosting that show alongside the featuring acts Michelle Castro, Tom Chamberlain, Dom P himself, and it was headlined by Nary Signs. What an amazing show, guys. Everybody had a really good set. The crowd was fantastic. For Wednesday night, everybody was packed in and like laughing from start to finish. Man, it was really good. Huge shout out to everybody on that show. Michelle, it was her first time, I believe, on a Have Nots show, so she absolutely killed it, breaking her Have Nots cherry. Really just a fun evening in general. And if you want to go to see a Have Nots show, don't worry, guys. If you're sad that you missed it, on the show we got coming up something just for you. So big shout out to Dom and Have Nots for everything that they do. Have you ever done Have Nots before, Dean, with Dom?
I did actually. He was actually kind enough to let me host one of the shows at the Improv, and that was the first show where I had my brother and sister. That was the first time and the only time a family member has come and watched my shows.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So
How long ago was that?
think a year ago, a year and a half, 2 years ago. I don't know. Like honestly, like after a while, all this shit blends together.
Yeah.
Then, like, I
It's
stopped
only been
counting the
6
years.
months. Like, dude, that was 6 years ago.
yeah, like, I know,
Oh,
right?
what?
Feel like I'm like a war vet or something like that.
Yeah.
You know? Just like I don't even know, man.
Yeah, you don't actually remember any
Yeah.
of these events. Like you just show up to rooms and you have flashbacks of when you bombed.
Exactly, right?
That's
Yeah.
like, oh, I remember when that happened. Fuck, oh.
The comedy and war, a lot of PTSD and blackouts. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
A lot of lost times.
Instead of
Lot of
gunfires, just like crickets and shit. Right? The worst.
And so they came, they saw your show, and they've never been to another show.
No, they're like, because like it's so like I mean it was really fun. I love hosting too, so it was really great. But I also just like personally like I hate having people that I know at a show.
Mm.
Like for me, it just adds more weight to it.
Yeah.
I'm cool bombing in front of strangers. I don't know these people.
Yeah.
If it's someone I know, I'm gonna have to talk to them later.
Yeah.
You know.
No, and the other thing too, you're not uniquely, you're not alone in feeling that way, I would say, because as running the front of the house at the Improv, we get requests from comedians where it's like, yeah, hey, my mom and my family, my sister's coming here, like save them seats, not close to the stage.
Yeah,
Like-
exactly.
like,
I
right?
can't see them.
Somewhere I ca-
Somewhere I
exactly.
cannot see them, and we know like where we can put people where they're hidden by the lights in the Improv,
Yeah.
so that they can still have a good
Yeah.
spot, like still
Oh, yeah.
accommodate that person's family, but not have them seeing. But that is a common request by comedians. Is like, yeah, save them seats, just don't save them in the front. Like, just whatever you do, please do not.
Like,
Like,
you know, one of the worst things is like when you go to Taurus and you have like a less than good set, right? And then you're like, man, I got away with it. Nobody was here to see how bad that was.
Yeah.
And then you find out that the producer of the show was there. and didn't tell you, and she saw how bad it was. So you
She
can't
was
even.
testing you.
Yeah,
That's what it was. She was like, man, if I tell Art that I'm here, he's gonna like do a good set, or he's gonna try
gonna
like
play it up
he's
for
gonna
me.
play it up. He's gonna try and do some dismount. She was like, no. She was like, let me see him in his natural element.
It was terrible.
And honestly, Ray, you did see him in his natural element.
terrible.
That's pretty much, you got the gist of it. That's Taurus. That's Taurus for you.
And I asked for that special spot, just so you know.
Yeah,
I requested to be put in that terrible
yeah,
position.
Yeah, you were like, I need to go right now, not even knowing that she's there, and she's like with a notepad, like taking notes. Yeah, you filmed this set, Ray? Yeah.
Next week she's gonna have a recap.
She brought one of the cameras from the studio, and she actually filmed your set, dude. So she like clipped a lav on your collar. You didn't even realize it, bro. The audio sounds great.
Yeah, so it's the worst when people are there, especially when you don't know that they're there.
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
It's like, it's especially if it's like only like 9 people, so they're one of the 9 people. It's like no denying.
Wait, were you there at the Taurus too?
Right?
No, but you know, I think it's also funny too when you show up to a place like Taurus like that, and it's like, you know, one person, 3 of them are comics, 6 of them are regular people.
Yeah.
And then you just stand there, and the minute you get on stage, you do the math, and you're like, the odds are not, like, the odds are not ever in my favor right now. Like I'm going to die in these 100 games for sure.
Yeah, like this is.
I'm getting clapped off rip, dude. No way. Have you? I mean, you've done Taurus before a bunch of
Oh, a
times.
bunch of times,
What? How do you feel about it? We had Mike Daba on last week, believe it or not.
Yeah, who?
Mike
Mike
Daba.
Oh, yeah. Wasn't he doing it a bunch beforehand or something like that?
I mean, he was the guest on the show last
He
week.
was the guest on the show.
okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, what you call it? I love that place just because, like you said, like it builds you, but it's also, man, like if it reminds you about like Miami comedy. You know what I mean? And I'm telling you, like I'll go to like some of these other places, and then I'm like, oh my god, this shit built me for this, right? Like I'm already ready, and like it's it's like once you like just learn to have fun with it, it becomes a great spot to be at, you know. But it's definitely tough. It definitely puts you through your paces, that's for sure.
You got to come by and try the new stage, man. They just got a brand new stage.
Dude, I would, every time I would do that show, I would pray to God I wouldn't fucking fall, because I can't see like a foot in front of me. I'm like, I'm just gonna stand still, because if I fall, I don't even have health insurance.
I was gonna say the old stage was like rickety, and like I had like 2 pieces that were like put together. We had things wedged under. The new stage is actually like a well built stage.
Okay.
Like it's well put together.
It could hold like Tarno and Raul at the same time.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's a good stage right there.
Yeah.
Elevators can't do that.
Yeah.
That's I feel bad. I'm like,
Corning still.
That's crazy.
Poor Tarno, bro. He gets his flack on this show. We love
Not
you, Tarno.
Raul.
Well, Raul gets praised sometimes, but poor Tarno.
But just Tarno.
Every time he
Tarno's
gets
only
mentioned.
mentioned in a low light on this show.
he's like the Meg.
yeah, literally. He is the meg of this show. Like he's indirectly become that. We love you, Tarno.
Yeah, sorry.
We love you, Tarno. That was like a few weeks ago. Chris Cilio came on the show and was like, "Yeah, me and Tarno we're moving to Austin, man. It's gonna be great." We had a whole conversation.
They're moving to
about
Austin?
Him and yeah.
Oh my
But then
God.
in the comments, Tarno just goes, "I'm not moving to fucking Austin. Chris is a liar." Yeah. I haven't followed up with him on that. I'm like, if he was just joking or if it's true. But it would be so funny if the one time we actually like at length spoke about Tarno on the show was like a complete lie. None of it was true.
Yo, what if he just like tricked Tarno into being like, okay, maybe I am actually.
Yeah, Tarno was like, when did I agree to?
Like, what?
Like, we have a lease agreement. What are you talking about?
Because he's like, oh, Chris made all these plans like, with me in mind, so now I have to fucking go. Like,
I need your
it would be
credit.
rude.
I need your credit to get
Not
this
to,
lease.
like uproot my life now.
And then go live with you in Austin and try and get on Kill Tony every week.
That's good, bro. But no, they're good people, man.
No, it's awesome. It's awesome. Honestly, huge shout out to Tarno. We love Tarno and all the stuff he does, man.
Yeah, a lot of good-hearted people here in Miami.
Yeah, and also shout out to Raul. He was up in Chicago, I believe, of all places this week, doing it was a con. I'm not sure the exact one of the many.
Oh, yeah, 'cause he does that
Supercon.
Comic-Con
Yeah,
stuff.
Supercon
Yeah.
Comic-Con. It was like
yeah.
I think it might have been Collector Con. I think it could have been that. But either way, dude, like 400 plus people in that room that they had, man. Huge shout out to Dade County Comedy and everything they do out there, because every single time that they do one of those shows at a Supercon or a Comic-Con or something like that, bro, it is packed out. And I get it. You're at a convention. There's like 10,000 people there, you know, whatever. But like, no, I've been there before and I've barked for those shows and I've stood in the conventions. It's not easy getting those people to go.
Nah, 400 people is still 400
Yeah,
people,
bro, and getting them to, especially when you're at an event where there's other stuff going on.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you're not just competing with yourself. You're competing with everything that's in a convention center that's walking distance to the people.
I feel like for that, like, it's so, instead of like competing, like I would assume it would be they're like a part of it, and I would also think like all the comics he like books are like people that like love like all the fans
Right.
and everything.
But,
Yeah.
what I mean,
Like I haven't been
I
booked
don't
on
mean,
one of
I
these.
don't mean competing in necessarily like a direct competition. I mean more in like in terms of like competing for the attention of the people there.
Oh yeah.
Because there's like kiosks where you can go. There's like there's
Wait,
there's,
are like they're not in like a separate spot doing the show?
so they're scheduled. I mean, at least from when I've done it, it's like an event that happens within the convention.
Oh,
You know what I mean? So it's
Okay.
in the convention center, but it's also advertised through the convention. So like if you look at the sheet, if you sign up or you buy tickets, you go and there's like a pamphlet that's like, oh, at this time this is
Right.
happening here. This time this is happening here.
Got
It's
you.
it's one of the events throughout the day.
Right.
okay.
So there's other stuff happening as well where like they like sometimes they close out the night with like they'll do a dance party or something, or they'll do like, hey, this huge
Yeah,
voice
Vampire
actor.
Chronicles or whatever.
Yeah, this huge voice actor is like here and he's gonna
Shout
be
out
signing-
Vampire Chronicles.
Vampire Diaries.
Yo, you can fuck
He-
that up.
No, man, he's trying to shout out, the fact that our good friend, our good friend,
Just leave it at this point.
our good friend went to a super fan convention for Vampire Diaries, and what did you call it? Vampire Chronicles?
When you translate it over,
The
yeah.
fuck?
You said it so confident.
Yeah, you were like, you said it twice. You doubled down. Play the clip.
we
He said
don't
it
have
twice.
recap yet. We don't have instant replay.
Julian's gonna edit it. We're gonna play the clip. You said it twice. You're like the Vampire Chronicles. Like,
The person who it's for knows what I mean.
yeah, they know that you were wrong.
There we go.
They know that you
My
were
heart was in the right place.
Yeah, bro. Your favorite character on that show is Damien, dog. Weirdo.
Is that the son of the devil?
Exactly.
Good. Okay.
Yep. Precisely.
I
But
have no idea what you're all talking about, by the way.
he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, that's
surprised
that
you
makes
do.
two of
He
us.
has no fucking
Yeah.
idea. He doesn't know what he's talking about. But long story short, huge shout out to DCC and those guys and what they do, because it's always impressive every time I see when they post. They're like, yo, we're here in this, when we're in Orlando or we're in Tampa or we're in Chicago, and every time they pack, like, doesn't matter where they're at, they do a great job. Shout out to Raul, man.
No, even just his like local shows too, they're really good. And I mean, he's
That's true.
yeah, he's such a he gave me this when I did his shows. He gave me this envelope with obviously the money and stuff, but it was also like a nice little thank you note. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh my god, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
I was like, yo,
That's one of the things that separates Raul from the pack, really. Like he really
I ain't doing no thank you notes.
not to disparage anybody else, but that's something that like
it goes the extra mile.
his
It's-
professionalism in going the extra mile to make you
Yeah.
feel appreciated in going out and doing the show is something that I've always, since I started, really appreciated about Raul too.
Oh yeah.
Love that. But moving on though, we also had at the Miami Improv this weekend. It was a lot of fun. We had T.I. headlining the entire weekend, and on Saturday night, we actually had his openers, who were all incredibly funny, super polished, just really incredible comics, be able to get their own night on Saturday and had it packed out themselves. Put on two actually fantastic shows, and I mean, it couldn't have been more fun. We had that. We had an R&B brunch as well on Sunday morning that went gangbusters. That was sold out. We'll probably have more to come in terms of R&B brunches, so definitely stay tuned here, because we might be doing some through the Improv that'll be a lot of fun for you guys to come out and enjoy.
But that Saturday when the Haha Mafia, they took over the Improv basically. So T.I. wasn't there, and they just ran it. I mean, those guys are basically Atlanta legends in the comedy game. I got to hang out with a little bit of them. Ronnie Jordan specifically, he's done a lot of time down here in Miami. He knew Larry Dog. He knew, Kyle Grooms. He knew a lot of the comedians that have been doing comedy down here for a while. So it was really cool to kind of like hear about some of that stuff. But big shout out Erica Duchess, Tyler Chronicles, and K-Dub. It was a great show, man. It was amazing. It was super fun. The whole weekend was amazing.
Yeah. And we also had another brunch show that happened over at the Miami Improv as well, Saturday during the day with Cafecito Comedy. We had the best damn brunch show, and it was so much fun, guys. If you missed this show, you missed an absolute banger. But again, don't worry, there will be more to come, because we realized that this formula, it clicks, man. We had everybody out there who was able to participate. Actually, a huge shout out to Laz and Oscar, who are two local comics who were out there supporting the shows and were chosen to be contestants. Like, we did random selection. We did completely random selection. Like, we didn't choose anybody specifically. We did a few different games, actually. Like, you had to like reach under your chair, and if you had a ping pong ball under your chair, you were able to participate for a certain. We keep it fun for you guys. But both of those guys, Oscar and Laz, were able to go up, and they actually ended up winning.
Nice.
So they both won their respective competitions, and they left there with some prizes. And that's how you can be too. If you will come out to a Cafecito comedy show, a Best Damn Brunch show, or a Best Damn Game show, you could be leaving with prizes in hand too. We had Avorza as a sponsor. We were able to give away some Avorza vodka bottles. We gave away some tickets to the Improv. We gave away some tickets to Cafecito comedy shows, and we also gave away some championship rings, guys. If you didn't go, you missed out.
That's what that was for.
You missed out on some championship rings, and we're gonna have more to come.
Championship rings?
Yeah, we bought like rings that like say champion. They got the diamonds on them and everything. Yeah, we reached out to Johnny Dang. Very expensive. yeah.
Yeah, I saw some floating around, and I was like, I didn't want to ask, but I was like, what? They look pretty good.
What's this shit from Tiffany's?
Like just expense.
Yeah. No, but it was a lot of fun, guys, and the games that we actually played went off without an absolute hitch. So you definitely want to go out there. We're gonna have some videos and we're gonna have some clips coming out from it. So once we get that actual teaser reel from this weekend shows, we're gonna play it right here on the show, so you can kind of get a better idea of what we're talking about and what you're missing out on, guys, by not going to the Best Damn Brunch show.
How about the killing time? Remember that?
The killing time?
Yeah. After the first show, between the second shows, we all want to shout out couple of minute-long presentations we had.
You mean Kill Tiny?
Yeah, what do you call it? Yeah,
it's Kill Tiny.
Kill Tiny. There we go.
Yes.
I couldn't remember what it was called.
Kill Tiny. Wow.
We were killing time.
No. Okay, so first of all, how dare you? That was a special thing that we had.
Okay, then never mind then.
Just amongst us improv people, man. You know, Kill Tiny is a show that we are doing at the Improv.
It's not a show. It's literally killing time.
It's a show at the Improv that we're doing in between shows happening before we open the doors for you guys, as we're preparing and we're getting ready to get everything going, to get the energy right in the room as we do.
Yeah.
I'm hosting a show now called Kill Tiny, where we get improv staff to go up on the stage and do 1 minute of uninterrupted stand-up, and me and Art critique it, similar to Kill Tony, similar to the Killing Joke that they do down here over on Thursdays over at Mode. But we're just doing it improv staff. It's 1 minute, guys. If you want to do it, you have to work at the Improv. Sorry. You just can't just come and
you got to be on shift.
You got to be on shift. You got to be clocked in. Really, this is the point. You're working on the company time, but you get that one uninterrupted minute to try whatever you want. And I think we have some future comedy stars in the making over at the Miami Improv staff. Some people who didn't know they had talent went up and did great.
As long as they start doing comedy.
As long as you start doing comedy, you know who we're talking about. You could be the next star in South Florida comedy. But yeah, we are.
The whole time I thought it was called Killing Time, because that's what we were doing. We were just killing time. We were just hanging out.
It's Kill Tiny because I hosted.
It makes sense.
2 strikes now, man. Come on.
Makes sense.
One more.
I'm not saying any more names tonight. That's it.
You and names, bro. You need to tighten up. Okay? You need to tighten up.
That's my problem. I'm sloppy.
Yeah, you're sloppy, bro. Sloppy. Moving on to this week, though, that was last week in South Florida comedy, guys, and it was an amazing week, and we were so happy that we were able to experience it. But this week coming up is also one that is jam-packed and something that is going to be fantastic, because Wednesday over at the Fort Lauderdale Improv this time, guys, again, big shout-out to the Fort Lauderdale Improv. Loving the new rebranding. Love the name. Just rolls off the tongue. Fort Lauderdale Improv. Love it. But they are having a Have-Nots comedy show over on Wednesday, guys. And this lineup, fantastic. Some of these guys, I don't know how often they go out to the Fort Lauderdale, Dania Beach area. So definitely, if you have a chance to go catch them. Because we have Lonnie Cox, Tony MC, Casey Graves, and Jenny Bache. Casey's obviously, he's always up in the northern parts of South Florida. But everybody else is relatively new. Oh, also, and Jay Moreno as well. I believe he's going to be headlining as well. He was over at the end of my little list here, but he was last, but certainly not least, because anytime you get a chance to see Jay Moreno, you definitely got to take advantage of it, because it's going to be great. And these shows actually that happen at Fort Lauderdale, I mean, anytime that Dom puts together a Have-Not show, it's great. But the Fort Lauderdale ones have been so much fun, guys. I've been on 2 recently that have been in Fort Lauderdale that have done absolute gangbusters, that have been nothing but wall-to-wall fans of comedy there to enjoy and really, really have a great time. So if you get a chance to go out there, or if you're not doing anything on a Wednesday night and you want to go out and enjoy a really, really, really fun show of comedy, that might be the best show of comedy in South Florida on Wednesday night, period, anywhere. So definitely go out to Have-Nots and check that out at 7:30 Fort Lauderdale Improv. on Wednesday at the Miami Improv. If you can't make it out to Fort Lauderdale, don't worry. We got a great show for you. We got that one mailman stanking across America, man. Stanky booty.
Yeah.
He's going to be doing his thing at the Miami Improv on Wednesday, guys. He's coming through grills and all, straight from Johnny Dang in Houston. It is not only going to be a fantastic show for anybody who's coming, but the staff is really looking forward to this one. There's a lot of fans of his that love, a lot of fans on the staff that love his content, that love what he does. If you don't follow him on Instagram, you definitely want to check him out, guys. Go on Instagram, check out his content, because he has some of the funniest sketches. He does amazing work on there, and it's paying off because it's got him touring around the country, putting on shows and doing shows at clubs that are like second to none, man. It's really fun.
We actually, this is a rescheduled show. So if you have tickets, I think maybe it was this year, maybe February. We had a show, got removed, got rescheduled. So if you have tickets for that, you should have tickets for this one. It'd be Sean Fogelson, Miami Improv, 8 p.m.
Yeah, man. I'm super excited for this one. I'm a really big fan of his. I got a few people that have already asked me for tickets to come and watch this show. So we're definitely going to have that be a party over at the Miami Improv on Wednesday. Definitely get your tickets if you want right now. You can go to miamiimprov.com and get some tickets for that right away. Thursday, though, happening over at the Fort Lauderdale Improv, Angelo Colina is going to be coming through. He's a guy who is a regular at the Miami Improv, comes through all the time. He is a friend of the Miami Improv's, 100%. He's actually going to be doing some more shows, huge shows, coming up at the Miami Improv in June, in early June, with a little bit of a festival that's happening. More information on that when it does come. But right now, he is going to be over at the Fort Lauderdale Improv, and I believe, Art, you have some more info on that.
That's right. Vamos a hacerlo en español para todos los fans de comedia aquí en el calendario. Mi amigo Sebastian, que todo el mundo sabe cómo es en español. Ángel Colina, culpable en español, Fort Lauderdale Improv. Yo no sabía, pero Ángelo empezó la comedia en Salt Lake City, Utah, en un club que se llama el Wise Guys Comedy Club. Entonces, súper interesante. Como tú dijiste, el año pasado entero viajando por todo el mundo, haciendo comedia. Entonces, estamos esperándolo. Vamos a verlo en Fort Lauderdale, cómo va a ser, 7:30 el jueves.
All right, I'm going to need the SAP button. That shit, I did not understand a damn thing.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Sebastian didn't understand any of it either. Don't worry.
You don't speak Spanish, Sebastian?
Hello, maricón.
That I understood.
See.
It's not good when he understands it too, bro. You don't get points for that.
It was the point. I'm including our guest, unlike you.
Gotcha. Yeah, bringing up Christmas, doing it in Spanish. All right.
There you go. Great job, though, Art. We love our resident Brazilian, giving his best impression of a Cuban guy.
There you go.
That's
you're Brazilian?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Okay. All right. That's what's up.
Yeah, and I'm Brazilian, and I'm the one doing the Spanish stuff on the show.
He's never stepped foot
Yeah,
in a Latin country, but he has been in Latin America.
Yeah, because don't Brazilians speak like Portuguese?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
He also speaks Portuguese.
Yeah.
But that's worse, believe it or not, than Spanish.
It is.
Somehow. I don't know.
I'm just glad that I got that they speak Portuguese right.
Yeah.
I wanted to seem smart. So.
No, hey.
I wanted to be learned.
I think you're our first guest that knew that without having to be told. So
Yeah.
Congrats.
They always say they speak Brazilian. I actually speak Portuguese as well.
Oh, okay, all right. That sounded Italian.
That's a hate crime. 225 million people in Brazil right now.
And they all sound like that.
How many people have we offended on this?
This has been the most.
This has been the best, actually. What this? Great times here on the comedy calendar. Just you know what it is? It's a very cultural show.
Yeah.
Today, it's a very cultural show. You brought the culture out of us, Dean.
Well, we are the cultural digital page of a newspaper, so it makes sense.
That does make sense. At least we are doing that. Happening on Thursday though, over in Wilton Manors, guys. We don't have a show that we've talked about, I believe, here on the show before. So this is gonna be the first time we shout them out. So huge shout out to them. Josh Prack, I believe, runs the show out in Wilton Manors. It's gonna be really, really cool. And we've got our boy Art on that lineup too. So Art, do you have a little more information on that?
Yeah, so it's called Wash Your Mouth Out Comedy, and it's at the LL Comedy Live. I believe it's like at a thrift store.
Nice.
Called the Wilton Collective, right?
Nice.
And it'll be my first time there. Shout out Josh Prack. He hit me up about the show. Minda Long, Don P, our boy, big fan from the show, and Madison Bakich will be there performing. I'm super excited, man. It's my first time. I had seen the flyer. I think they've done it for a couple of months now. A couple of my friends have performed there, so I was excited to get invited. I believe you've been on the show?
Yeah, no, it's a really fun spot, man. It's like this big, it's like a little thrift shop, and then like next door is like, it was almost kind of like a warehouse thing, and they got like a little bar center, and then it's a stage. It's really, really nice.
That's dope. That's dope. I'm excited. I mean, you guys know anytime anything's in Wilton Manors, I'm all about it. So
Of course. Yeah. You're getting to the bottom of something correct there, right?
yeah, actually, I'm looking for bottoms at Wilton Manors.
Nice.
soon.
That's good. I think that's why you like asked to be booked, correct?
Right.
Right.
Been asking for months. I sent him private DMs
Of
and
course.
through the comedy calendar page.
Nice. Well, you got through.
Yeah.
Congrats. We're going to get to the bottom of it. On Thursday, though, happening at the Miami Improv, we have the first of our weekend lineup, guys, and we have a headliner that I am really, really looking forward to. He is super funny. Every time he's come to the Miami Improv, anytime he comes, I have to sit for one show of the weekend and just watch the set. I have to, because he is so funny. And that is Lavell Crawford, guys. Legend of the game, man. He's been doing this for longer than I've been alive. He is one of the funniest comics in the country. I mean, you've seen him on podcasts. You've seen him on Club Shay Shay recently, where he did an amazing interview and talked about riding fries and everything like that. It went super viral. So that's the guy we're talking about now, coming through the Miami Improv this weekend and headlining these shows, guys. If you are looking to get tickets, he is going to be there Thursday through Saturday, because Sunday is going to be Easter, and we are closed on Easter Sunday for the Miami Improv, that is. But until then, we will be having Lavell Crawford there. If you want to get tickets, go online right now to miamiimprov.com and get your tickets right there, because it is going to be close to sold out for sure, especially since he's not doing a Sunday show. Condenses the weekend and condenses the availability a little bit. You guys definitely want to go out there and catch those shows, because they're going to be close to sold out. So go right now. Lavell Crawford, guys. Can a Brother Get Some Love tour is what he has got going on. So that will be this week in South Florida comedy, though, guys. If you want any more information on any other shows that are happening, even the ones that we didn't mention here tonight, you can always go to the description of this video and you can look at the South Florida comedy spreadsheet link, which gives you a breakdown on all the shows that are happening in South Florida. If you're a comic, you can see how to get on those shows and how to get booked on them, who to reach out to. Or if you're just a patron and you want to go enjoy, it's going to tell you maybe what parking situation is like and kind of what the show and what time it starts and where it's at. Definitely stay up to date with everything, because guess what? South Florida comedy is so jam-packed. We can't talk about everything on this show alone. But moving on now to my favorite part of the show, guys, we are going to be getting into a deep dive and interview with our guest today, man, Dean.
Deep dive.
Yeah, man. We've shouted out, shows that you've been on before. We've shouted out a bunch of stuff you've been spoken about on the show before, but now we're lucky enough to have you in studio. And just to give people a little bit of an idea of kind of who you are and what you're doing, just when did you kind of start comedy, and when was it that you told yourself like, hey, this is what I want to do,
That is, I mean, I feel like it's kind of like this similar story for most comedians. Like, you probably know at an early age, like, all right, this is what I really want to do. I mean, I remember seeing like my first stand-up specials, and I didn't even know what I was watching, but I loved it. But I wanted to get into politics because I'm brown and I need to make my parents happy.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to go into politics a little bit, whatever, and then like that kind of fizzled away, and I was like, all right, I'm not gonna do politics. Like, I ended up just going into like doing like stand-up, right? Long story, I mean, what really happened was like I went to Philly to go ahead and like pursue politics and stuff like that. My mom got sick, this, that, and the other. So I moved back, I quit politics, and I wasn't really doing anything for a little while. I was kind of like in like a little weird state, and then I remember watching Robert Kelly's stand-up special. Remember seeing it on Netflix, and that was like the first time I laughed in like a long time, right? Or like a while. And I was like, all right. So I was like, I gotta try it. I've always had like this thing. I've always wanted to do like sketches, but I didn't think it was like an actual career thing. I go to like my first open mic. I don't even know if you guys knew about this, but this was it was called Marina 84.
No, I've never heard of it.
Oh my God, think Taurus but with rednecks.
Damn.
Yeah, yeah, that's basically what it was, man. And
where was it?
It was
what part of town?
it was in Dania.
Okay.
Maybe 10 minutes from the Improv.
Oh,
not
wow.
even, maybe
Okay.
like 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like right there on 84. And oh my God, I went there on a Tuesday and I bombed terribly, but I get off stage and I'm like, I cannot wait to get back. And from then on, I think that was like 2019. So to answer your question, like 2019 was when I like really actually started getting into like stand up and
Diving into it.
yeah, like that's when I started doing like the Tuesday, and they did it like I think it was once a week every Tuesday. So I probably went like once a month. And then like later on into 2019 is when I got like really like serious about it. 2020 was when I really took it serious. I got invited to do Zanies in Chicago, And that was like the same month that the pandemic happened. So like I did the show, and then a month later the pandemic happened, and it was like I was like, God damn it,
What timing?
I know, right? As a comedian, my timing has never been better. But yeah, no, that happened. I mean, obviously in South Florida, we weren't really. It didn't affect us too long. Like I think like 6 months or so was probably like the least. But I started hosting at a kava bar, doing that, and then.
So when did you start hosting at Thank? Because my first intro to you was at Thank You. When I started going to Thank You, you were hosting the show. I mean, you were I think were you hosting the
main show.
The main?
Yeah.
No, it was me doing the main show, and then Joe Bob was.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we made a good tag team, man. We were doing Mondays and Fridays.
Shout out Joe Bob, man. He likes and comments on the videos and stuff,
Heck
man.
yeah,
Shout out
man.
Joe Bob.
All the way from
Joe
Oklahoma.
Bob. Oh yeah, dude, man. Amazing guy, man. Amazing comedian too. And yeah, that's when I did Shipwreckers for about like 6 months to a year, and then Manny hit me up before Thank You Miami. Did that for about like almost a year and a half, and then in between, towards the end, I got the opportunity to start producing for Don't Tell, and then started doing that since like 2022.
Nice. And how'd that come about? Did Don't Tell reach out to you, or did you reach out to them?
So I did a show for them in Tampa. I talked to one of the people there. We didn't really have anything over here. I was like, I was thinking about originally doing it at Thank You, but they didn't think it would be like a great fit. So I looked at a different spot, did that like close to like a month, regularly for like 2 months. And then since then, I think like 3 months in was when we literally started doing it like almost like twice a week, every Friday, Saturday.
So just for our audience, man, maybe don't know, because even for me, like Don't Tell was something that was kind of like amorphous and kind of mysterious. Can you give us like a little bit of a primer on what Don't Tell is? I mean, it's
definitely. So like it started in like 2017, I think, with Kyle. Shout out to Kyle. He started doing these shows like in the backyards of like a lot of places on like the West Coast. They were getting like a lot of popularity. They almost kind of like follow the same format as So Far Sounds. I think that's the thing. They basically, what they do is they bring comedy to like a secret location. You don't really know what the location is. You don't even know who the comics are on the show. But we do a great job in making sure we bring like nothing but the best. And so it's like a nice little like secret thing that people don't really like. It's like a nice little like, spontaneous event. And usually they're like BYOB shows, so people can bring their own drinks.
Oh, nice.
It's like one of the it's one of the.
You're doing it like somewhat a private business, so
yeah, man. We've done some shows at hangars. We do a show at salons, barbershops. Done shows.
And how does an audience member like find out about it? I mean, how do they like get on to find out when the shows are happening, and how does that work?
So if you want, they can go on like the Don't Tell Comedy website, and they'll show shows for like all their cities. They're in like almost all the major cities in the U.S. and even like some countries around the world, and they'll be able to see like all the shows that we got. I just did our schedule, so we should have like everything for like May, so they can go through and like check out any show that they want for like the rest of April and rest of May.
But it says like where the show's gonna be, or it just
yes, it'll show like the neighborhood. So it'll show like we got 2 shows coming up this week, one in Coral Gables and one in Miami Beach. But that's what it'll show you. It'll show a venue, Coral Gables, but it won't show the exact location. Now, if you want to be boring and like actually like like reveal the location, you can.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I mean, like as far as like the people that want to get on there, like they get on an email list.
Yeah.
And I see what you're saying now, and then they can go on the website and they know the general neighborhood where the show is going to be.
Exactly.
And that's how they get them. Yeah, because that's cool. I mean, it's one of those things. Like I said, a lot of times, you see the clips online, but you're like, wait, how do these people actually like get there? You know what I mean? Because like I've been wanting to go to the shows, and like I mean, obviously I work at those nights, so it's been weird, but it's like, how do I like if I want to recommend it to somebody, how do I get on there? How do I find out about those shows? And so yeah, I'm glad you kind of went over it.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I mean, we've done a great job of like, especially like Don't Tell themselves when they promote and stuff. So it usually pops on people's like social media feeds and stuff, and they can like click right away for any more information.
And you guys are doing that every Friday and every Saturday?
Yeah. Been blessed to do it like that frequently now. It's actually been really awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah, we're like all over.
Definitely got to try to get Dark Vision on one of these shows if you're down. Have Dan come out and do some clips and stuff, and so we can do a recap here on one of the shows.
Yeah, he just takes pictures. Like, I don't know if you've seen kind of some of the stuff that has come out, not only for Comedy Calendar, but a lot of what Have Nots puts out, like a lot of the images and a lot of the video that Have Nots does. He works with them greatly, so
no, that'd be awesome.
definitely would be dope.
It
Definitely.
makes cool, like little
Was it
45
Dark Vision?
Yeah, Dark Vision.
Yeah, man. Dan, I'm surprised he's not here.
He had Denzel.
Well,
Wait, that's
Talk
his
to
name, Dark Vision?
That's his
company name.
Okay, his name is Dan.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's our-
Yeah, I feel like he prefers to go by dark vision instead.
Yeah, we all-
100%. Yeah.
We use it interchangeably, actually.
Yeah. We just call him Dart.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, just Dart. But no, for sure. I think one of the cool things also about Don't Tell is that it really is some of the best shows in terms of the audience that you're curating and the environments that they're able to get put in, especially for Miami. That we were kind of talking about it earlier, that like, you know, places like Taurus, and there's certain spots that are just built out to be a little more conducive, to be difficult to get people's attention, to be able to just go up and do your thing just naturally. And Don't Tell, I know you guys always do such a great job of, like, the people that are there, like, they want to go see comedy. You know what I mean? Like, no one's going out to this random location signing up for this stuff to be like, I don't know what this is, or I don't know what, like, I don't like, no, they're getting into a comedy show and they're excited to be there, and they're willing to like sit down and listen for an hour and a half and just enjoy a show, where in a lot of venues down here, you don't get that.
Yeah, no, definitely. You definitely do get the audience that's there expecting comedy, so that makes it infinitely easier. You got people that are not, they don't necessarily have to have that expensive night out at like some restaurants and stuff like that. And if they want to do it, they can. But I think the best thing about it is that it's the whole setting is curated for stand-up. It's nice, it's intimate. You get the audience that wants to be there. You get the comedians that are because we do a really good job of vetting all the comics and making sure we bring like the top-notch ones. So everyone, like from the start to the end, everyone's just doing great. The audience is loving it. So it's like, it's just that perfect mixture. You know, you get the culture of like all the necessary ingredients.
How much are tickets for the show?
They are 28 now.
28?
Yeah.
Nice.
Definitely worth it.
Yeah.
But one of the things that also makes me laugh when you said that, even as you walked into the studio and kind of we were walking through, I could see you kind of looking at rooms, and as we got to this room, I could see in your mind, you said it out loud at the end, you're like, we could do a show here. I love that mindset. It's like, we got the space, we can do a show here.
No, that's the beauty of it, man, because it really, I see myself as a comedian first.
Right.
And I know even in this scene, like, it can be tough sometimes, because I know like a lot of the comics will see me as a producer first, which I completely get. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the part that's like really starting to like bleed in now, because now when I'm going to places, I'm kind of like, oh my God, this might actually work. You know? I'm like it's weird how like my brain's being kind of trained like that.
It's the next evolution.
No, but you know what, that producer mindset is also something that I think a lot of young comics want to get. You know what I mean? It's something that they look up to guys like you and guys like people that we mentioned, Dom, Raul, these comics that are comics. They are, you know, I do stand up. I have my set. I have my stuff. I'm working on that. But I also produce great shows. And I'm also, whether that, and from what we've heard from a lot of these guys, is also the reality of like, you know, I needed time. So instead of just asking someone, hey, can I do this much time? I created the time for myself. Was there a little bit of that with you, where you were like, you know, I love these shows. I love the idea of doing these shows. I'm not going to wait for somebody to kind of curate it for me. I'm going to curate it for myself.
Oh, no, without a doubt. Like, as soon as I started doing the first show with Don't Tell, I was like, oh, I can do this every week. And then that's kind of what inspired me to really like hustle like that. And then once I did that, that's what I love about like South Florida, like the mindset that we have down here, because it is a very entrepreneur mindset, but that also bleeds into the comedians. So you do have comedians that are really out there just trying to like get that opportunity for themselves, because, I mean, really down here, the only clubs that we have are the improvs.
Right.
You know, we don't have anything else, unfortunately. You go to Midwest or anything like that, you got so many of these different clubs. You go to Atlanta, you got all these different clubs, but even past that, you have a lot of these local independent venues that aren't necessarily clubs, but they are they're comedy clubs in that sense, though, because they're there for stand-up. They just don't have that prestige that the improvs and whatever would offer. So we're kind of in like a little isolated state. So all we have really is just the improvs, and then whatever the independent comics can really like produce for themselves.
Right.
So I get it. I mean, we do the shows at Taurus because that's what we got, you know what I mean? But we make the best of them. And that's really what, like, I don't know if we're kind of like digressing from the point here, but that's what I really started admiring about like the scene is that adaptability with us, and like we're gonna make any place that we're at, we're gonna make the most fun that we can, you know?
Yeah.
But I do like that, like we're getting to that next evolution where like it's no longer just, hey, this is a physical space where we can get 30 to 40 people, and you know, in a mic, for example, to where like even when you walked in, you're like, okay, we got the width depth ratio that we would need to get a crowd in here.
Yeah.
It's like that next evolution where like the quality is just gonna start getting better. The obviously the pay, you start having ticketed shows, and it's what builds like that next layer of culture above. Like like we went to New York, for example, we hit a bunch of open mics, like 1,000 different open mics of people that were never gonna go anywhere. Like that level of open mics was those people, they're never gonna go anywhere. But right above that, there was like another level of like invited open mics that like those people were, you know what I mean? And then right above that, there was like another level of like not paid book show, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So having that depth in the culture kind of helps distill the best of the best.
Yeah.
I see now that we're starting to have that, with opportunities like Don't Tell, with these kind of places.
Let's see. I would agree with you with that to a certain point. That depth, yes, but we don't have that like the layers that like the New York comedy scene have, and that like we really just have like these like open mics and then showcases, and then like the clubs like Don't Tell and Miami Improv and stuff.
Well, what I'll say is like, because like last week or 2 weeks ago, Gene was talking about like the Field, for example, at the Irish pub. I mean, not the Irish pub, excuse me, at Shamrock.
Oh yeah.
Like, so now we have a couple of places like Don't Tell, like these that are starting to come in, like Comedy Inn. Comedy's not just starting, but that are starting to add a little bit more of that depth to it. Which is obviously we need 5 Comedy Inns. We need, you know what I mean? Like we would need way more to get to New York level, for example. But like seeing that starting to have a maturity to the scene.
Have you done the Comedy Inn before?
I did actually. It was a really nice spot. They run it like the but what I love about them though is that they don't. Like I keep forgetting his name. Mike, yeah. What I love, he's like he's happy not having to be like as ingratiated in the scene as like a lot of our showcase. Like we go to great lengths to promote our stuff, to be in the scene, some more so than others too. He's chilling with himself and doing his thing. He's happy. That's the kind of goal like a lot of like I feel like comics want to go to, is like as long as they're just making a living doing what they want to do, they're awesome. But also like I just don't think I would love to have like all these different clubs. I just don't think we would have the market for that down here though.
Well, I mean, so one thing I'll say in defense of that is we do, but it's a mixed languages, right? So there's a ton of guys that are like big in South America that do like weekly or monthly shows down here, and they get like they pack arenas. So there's definitely as far as total revenue, let's say, I think there's enough, but can you get it enough in your market to be able to make it worthwhile?
That's what I'm saying. Like there's no way we can have like multiple different kind of like improv level clubs in Miami, South Florida. I'm looking at it because like South Florida, we're like really big, but we can travel, right? And everyone has a car. So you might have like these one spots, and that's why like the Fort Lauderdale Improv and the Miami Improvs are really good, and where they're spaced out, because no matter where you're from, you can go to either one of those clubs.
Yeah, and they have the size benefit, because 400 really is a sweet spot. Anything more than that, once you do 2 or 3 shows, it's better to just do one show at an arena.
Exactly.
So you kind of like, and if you had like let's say you had a club with like 250 or 200 people as like the max capacity, you're gonna be kind of hard. The ticket price is gonna be pretty expensive for you to still be able to afford to pay some top comedians to come in.
Exactly.
So
and not only, so now like when you're looking at it from the club's perspective, all right, so they're kind of happy that there's not a lot of competition, because if you had multiple clubs, now you're like splitting those tickets, but now you're also thinking about how much it would cost to like bring comedians in. That's the other downside of like being so far away from like a lot of these places, like where it's a little bit more expensive to travel down here to South Florida. We're way further down. So it becomes a little bit more trickier in terms of like managing schedules and stuff like that. So, I feel like there's a lot that we can do, but we are making the most of what we can. I just don't think that we're gonna be ever at the level that like Chicago and New York is, unfortunately, just because of like geography and like a lot of the other like different factors.
Yeah,
I can see that. So with Don't Tell, I know that right now it's you've been running it here through just basically putting it in smaller venues and kind of finding the little things. When you look for a venue, we were kind of just talking about like when you walked in here and you're looking at kind of what is it about a space that stands out to you that you're like, oh, this could work for a show like this. I could pop up here. And for you especially, I think is really different, because you do have that kind of like that pop up factor in terms of Don't Tell, where you can just like skeleton. Like I think earlier we were talking about Hot Ones, and how they kind of have a setup that it's like they can go anywhere, any room, and just pop up, the curtains, and they put the cameras out, and they have their stuff, and it's remote, and they can kind of just go. I feel like Don't Tell has a lot of that same energy where you just need the space and you can fit it to the space. But obviously, what is it about the space that stands out to you though, since you are so universal in what you're able to achieve?
Just when I'm looking at, I want like an audience member when they're sitting, they're like, oh my, we're at a comedy show right now here in this place, Like we do a few shows at some restaurants and stuff, and I love that. But I really love the shows where, like, my favorite place to do our show is at Main Group. They're absolutely amazing, and it's like this small little salon, probably smaller than this place, but we pack like a little over 50 people, 60 people in there. Nice. And it's fun, and you wouldn't think you go in there, you're like, you set up a comedy show, right? And that's the kind of experience I want. I want people to go in and they're like, oh my God, we're about to have comedy here. And then the beautiful part about that is that's the first part. They're like, oh my God, there's a comedy show at a salon. And then halfway through, they completely forget they're at a salon. Yeah. And they're just enjoying a comedy show. Yeah. And then it's really, really nice to be able to promote the local business that we're doing this with. This really nice partnership that we're able to kind of work with. A lot of uniqueness is what I'm looking for. Like, so say like place like here, you have like these like nice little newspaper clippings and stuff like that. You got little things that just are naturally in the room that will fit into the decor that you don't necessarily have to remove. They just add to it. Yeah. And if you just pack in 50 chairs and put a mic over there in front of like that little thing that says Miami Community News, you got like a nice little spot for a show.
Yeah,
be on the lookout.
Cool. Yeah,
don't tell her.
Well, you can't. You won't be able to look out.
You won't be able to look out.
If you see a show in South Miami sometime soon, who knows?
Who knows? I'll spill the beans. I'll tell everybody. The show's going to be here. I'll tell them.
I bet you would.
I would.
Just strike through.
There'll be some hints.
Yeah. There'll be strike 3.
So when is that Sasquatch deal going to come through? That's what I want to know.
I actually already came through, man. Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So also, one of the things that I've noticed about Don't Tell is they do film a lot of like really, really high quality, like almost special level content. Is that through Don't Tell, or is that through the specific branches of like
that's through Don't Tell themselves?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
cool.
because they have their own production company that they shoot other comic specials, not just with Don't Tell themselves.
Oh, okay.
Is that something that you could bring down here to South Florida?
So that's tough. I want to. Every part of me really wants to, because we were talking about it off the mic about like bringing a lot more legitimacy to like South Florida. It's tough to do it down here, There's a lot of I gotta say like financial factors. Like it's really expensive to bring them all down here. They want really unique spaces. A lot of these unique spaces in other places in other states, they don't charge the same amount that Miami charges.
Right. Of course.
So it's very different, and it makes that like an issue. So that's why they'll go to like, I think they just do it right now in San Diego, LA, I think, and then they just started recently doing it in Columbus and like New York previously before that. But I think like New York and like LA, they're big on those because those were those main flagship chapters that they started, and so that's why they were really more comfortable doing there. I think they may have had like some they might have already been like having like previous relationships that made it easier, but just to be able to like to get the venues that they want down here, it just financially just wouldn't work.
Right. So it's about finding like the right partnership of like, yo, this venue is willing to work with us. They want like they're like, it would probably take someone who's like actively engaged and wanting to see comedy or like support it, and then be like, yo, that's dope. We can now move it into this space, but but it offers that being the prerequisite. I
won't pretend to like be in on the meetings and stuff like that, but I do know that there's like so many things, because now you got like all the different comics that I bring in, and when you got that's what I hate about Miami. Like it's so expensive with everything, and I get it, but it makes things like so much difficult for like creatives, like because not only do we have to worry about like the actual art, now we got to worry about like the whole opposite side of it, and like make sure that we don't come out of this like
because if you don't have a steady financial system backing your art or backing what you're doing, it's going to handcuff you at all or throughout the process, because you're always going to run into little pitfalls where you may have an opportunity to do something, but you can't execute it because you don't have the right financial stability.
Yeah.
You're not in the position to like capitalize on something.
Yeah, and then that's where it goes back into like, especially like us down here, we're just very creative with how we're able to take full advantage of what we have down here. I think the more we grow, the more we do it, the better we're just gonna end up becoming. Really taking full advantage of like a lot of the stuff.
So speaking of making the most of what we got, please tell me the backstory on your car, man. Your Integra.
Oh,
that I think that car alone is a character of the Miami comedy scene.
yeah, everyone keeps talking about like, oh, how's your car? Like it's my wife or something.
Yeah, dude. Dude, okay. I'll tell you my own personal story, right? So one time I'm at a show and you drive off. Like you went up, you get out, you drive off, and literally as you drive off, a bolt came flying out of your car, dude. I don't know if you ran over it, but like a bolt came running.
Oh, it probably was from my car.
And it rolled next to my foot, and someone's like, "Did I just come out of his car?" I'm like, "I think so." Like, everyone's like, "Should we call him?" It's like, dude.
So I
Let him
remember
ride.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
my Dean's car story was I remember one time when I had you booked on a show at the Arlo Hotel, and like the day that the show happened, like a hurricane or like a tropical storm came
Oh
through.
my God!
And,
yeah.
and you were like, dude, it's just so windy. I don't know if I can drive my car in this wind.
Dude,
I was like, is this car made of paper, dog? Like, he's afraid it's gonna get just like swept off on the highway.
This high off the ground.
Like it's Twister.
I get that, but it floods, yo.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
I totally get it, but it was just so funny that it was just like a little too windy, and you're like, this wind is tough, man. Like,
Bro, my car's a Honda. Like it's an Integra, so like it probably weighs 30 pounds more than me. But that it like in the wind, it'll jerk it out. But past that, it is an inch and a half off the ground.
nice.
Like it's literally that high off the ground.
That's dope.
And
It's made to clean the street as a rock.
That's what they call them though in the car culture. They call them street sweepers.
Yeah.
They're like really low. And my engine is really, dude. Like if you look like the headers, right? They're literally like this far from the ground,
Bro.
which it's not safe. You're not supposed to have it like that. But I love it, and it's really.
How long have you had it?
Oh, man,
What year is it, first of all?
this one is a 94.
This one, he said.
Yeah, this one is a 94. Yeah,
That means he has more than one.
I've had 9.
You've had 9 Integras?
I've had 9 Integras.
I don't believe
I've
it.
crashed 4.
Jesus Christ.
One got stolen.
Someone stole that?
Yeah, no, yo, before I want to catch it really quickly, but yo, they'll because that car, like they're very all the parts. You can really take one part from one car and take them over to another part. And so, like, that's what people do. They'll steal them, and they'll take the engine, they'll take the doors, they'll take the hood, and they'll just swap them out and sell them. So, like, by the time, like...
Because people who like those cars are crazy, apparently, for those cars. They'll buy 9 of them.
Yeah.
I don't care if you got stolen parts.
No,
again.
he's bought 9 of them, but the door on this car is the same one from the second car. Like,
You're actually right.
You've been like
little
upgrading
sentimental
parts.
value, you know what I mean? Just like something, but...
Bring it along.
Like, I'll look at my bank account, I'm like, why do I not have money? And then I remember, I'm like, oh, yeah, I bought like 9 of these motherfuckers. Like, shit.
Well, one of my first times I'm walking up to, you used to always park at, thank you, Miami, you used to always park in that first like little park. And I walked up and he's like on the hood of the car, like laying there on the windshield, smoking, hair flowing in the wind. I'm like, who's that hot pocky girl? What's going on? Like I turned the corner and I was like, he's like, no, that's Dean, that's the host. I'm like, oh.
Dude, it's so funny. He like caught himself being racist. He said Pocky instead of Packy. He wanted to say Packy.
I'm just glad that I was hot. That's I don't care what gender.
That's flowing hair.
Yeah,
flowing hair.
As long as I look good, I don't care what
I got a
gender.
hair thing, don't worry.
You know?
Exactly. And a Packy thing, apparently. Yeah. Nice.
But that car is like my escape though. So when I'm doing that, dude, like it's literally like stand up and the cars for me. Well, and then like films and stuff. But like those are like my 2.
Who's your favorite stand-up of all time?
That's kind of. It's almost like I asking like who's my favorite rapper. Sometimes like
It's tough.
Top.
How about right now? Like, who's your favorite to watch and enjoy right now? Because I know, like, all time you get sentimental with like a bunch of other factors. Like right now, who's the guy you watch?
So it's always gonna be Bill Burr,
Mhm.
Norm Macdonald. Those are like always like the like most rewatchable comics. So like no matter what, like any special really. And then obviously like Robert Kelly. Like I just like they're like certain like comics like them.
He's super cool, dude. Bobby is the man.
Dude,
he's super nice.
So nice. I got to open for him in Key West.
Nice.
Oh my God.
So when I opened for him when he was here with Ari Shafir.
Oh, that's nice.
And when I got off stage, he has like a joke where he talks about the like, and I guess it was just because he was doing it with Ari, where he was like, why did you guys come to see Ari? He's like, you're all young and happy. He's like, don't follow that guy. He's in the back like shitting blood. Like he was like, follow the young guy. He actually has a future. Yeah. Like he like shouted me out on stage. And it was so cool, man. Like he's one of the nicest comics I've met of like that caliber. Him and Ari both are super cool guys.
No, dude. Freaking love them. Those three. I don't know if you guys know this guy, Dale Jones.
No.
He's not like one of like the bigger knows, but like I just came across him like on Instagram. Mm-hmm. And like now everything that I watch of his is like it's just so funny. And I'm not big on like the physical comedy, but he's like the Three Stooges combined on stage.
Damn.
Just doing stand up, and it's the funniest shit ever, dude.
That's
I love it. And then I mean I'm gonna just go with the easy safe answer for the last one. That's Patrice O'Neal.
Yeah.
Oh, word.
Yeah, those would be like the top 5 that like I think like would always like come to mind, and that I can always like watch no matter what. Like all the other comics, like I was a big fan of Nate Bargatze, but then the style just gets a little bit old for me. You know, like after a while, it's just some things get just a little bit too much, and I'm just those guys, their styles, it just seems timeless for me.
That's dope. That's dope. And so when you're doing these don't tell shows, I know a big part of it is also kind of it's up to you to get the lineups together, and it's up to you to kind of book these comics. When you're putting together a lineup, what is the structure that you use, and what's your mentality when you're putting together a lineup? Because I think for a lot of young comics, they have the idea of like, yo, I'm just gonna put all my boys on the show, and like that's how it is. But no, you're curating an evening. You know what I mean? You got to know this comic what his jokes are, this comic what their jokes are. Are they gonna clash back to back, like the energies and like the styles? And
for me, it's a little bit different. Like I get it. Like I understand that like some comics, they might not ever be too happy with like what some of like the criteria is with like some producers and stuff. And listen, I was in the shoes too. I completely understand. For me, it's never gonna be my job to say who's funny, who's not. I'm gonna let the audience decide that, right? But for what I go off of is confidence on stage, is stage presence. I mean, I feel like in Miami, that's something that like a lot of comedians should be able to develop. Yeah. You know, that thick skin is one thing, but it's also being able to handle whatever happens on stage and looking like you belong there. And I feel like that's one thing that I can be a good judge of now is like seeing like, okay, who belongs on this stage in front of all these people, and that because when you get on the stage, it's all these people right in front of you. You know, that's the different part about it than like the comedy clubs. You got you on the stage, and you got like this space between them, but they're literally a foot in front of you. You know, and so sometimes some comics I've seen it just catches them off guard, and at that point you could just tell like. Because all these people that are coming here, they're expecting a professional show with professional comedians. They don't want someone that's going to seem flustered on stage.
Right.
And so I'm just looking for comedians that can do that can look like they belong on stage.
Are there any venues that you would like to see like Don't Tell at soon? Or I mean, is there any kind of dream or like, you know?
I want to try for museums, but like they all want like $20,000.
Yeah, because they're all the privately funded ones down here that are like any private event is like we're making our money back here.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you know, we don't get money from the government anymore.
No,
not since Trump.
I mean, exactly, and like so, and we don't even do venue fees, so we're kind of limited by what we're able to do. But museums would definitely be one thing that I'm looking for.
Nice, and so also I know that you host a lot of the Don't Tell shows. I know now you're headlining them, you're featuring on them, you know, you're moving it around, but I know hosting is something that you hold like special to you. You know what I mean? It's a position that you've actively worked at trying to. It's something that I've done as well. I love hosting shows, and also very early on, Joe Bob is actually one of the guys who like kind of gave me the advice of, you know, the host isn't always the funniest guy on the line.
Yes.
And you know, it's like what the job is, you know, turn the crowd into an audience and
exactly.
and that kind of stuff. For you, what are some of the tips that if you're like addressing, let's say, some younger comics in the South Florida scene right now who do want to get into hosting, who do want to kind of take that step from just being, you know, open micer to being like, hey, book me to I want to be a part of the show and I'll take the spot that maybe is the least wanted. You know what I mean? Which is sometimes the host.
Yeah.
For you, what is the advice you have for those people? And like, what would you say is something that's helped you become a better host?
one thing I would say, like for me, was that it helped with hosting, but it helped with me on stage just in general. But I just was like, all right, I'm gonna go up here and I'm gonna have fun, because once you have fun, that energy bleeds into the audience, and once you do that, it just makes everything easier. But now when you're hosting, you're going up there cold. Right. So it might be a little bit tough for some comedians to not already have like that energy. So you just got to get in the mindset of being like, all right, listen, like this is my show. These are people here like at my party.
Right.
So I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna have the time of my life, and they're gonna see that I'm having the time of my life, and they're gonna follow suit. I don't even want to like this. This is a bad example, but it's almost kind of like, you know, like herding sheep in a sense, right? But actually, a better thing would be like you're a pilot. Like if a pilot's on the plane panicking, everyone else is panicking.
Right.
But if the pilot's like, "Yo, this is smooth sailing," everyone else is like, "Yeah, this is smooth sailing." So as long as they just kind of follow that mindset, it usually works. And like hosting and doing your set, I don't think are any different. I just think it's like the energy that you have in the beginning.
And that's a good point, because a lot of times like I'll kind of like critique myself, and I'll be like, damn, like I feel like towards the end, by the end I had them, but like in the beginning I really didn't, you know. And it's you described it well. It was like the energy wasn't right in the beginning. I kind of came on when I should have warmed them up.
Well, see, and that's the other thing. Like there are certain, like sometimes they're like some people have like certain rules. Like Brian Coronado told me about this rule, was like you always want them to clap at least 3 times as a host before you get off stage.
Oh, okay.
But one of the things that I do is I'll like some hosts will do their announcements at the end, right? And that's when they'll get their claps and stuff. But I do a lot of my announcements in the beginning. And so I'll get 2 easy claps right there. I'll tell them like, give it up for all the comics, boom, you know. And I'll make sure to say like, you know, give them a lot of energy. So like they're kind of like, I'm kind of already like planting that seed of like, okay, the audience needs to be a little bit more energized. And then I'll say give it up for like the venue, or give it up for yourselves, whatever the case may be. That's 2 easy claps right there. Their energy's a little bit up. Then you hit them with like a good solid joke that you got. Boom, now you got them in. They clapped twice. They got big laugh. Now you can kind of like ease into your set. So you kind of just did the job of the hosting right there. Now at this point, you're just a comedian.
Yeah.
And Joe was right. You're as a host, your job isn't to be the funniest person. That's usually the headliner's job. But if you don't have a headliner and you just have features throughout like we do, the host is the most important job. So you just got to make sure once people are having a great time, you're keeping it running. And then if you start to see that like, you know, the energy's fading a little bit, boom. Close it out on that comic, bring up the next guy, make it quick. If you need to like bring the energy up again or something, do a quick joke, do that. But you're just running along, and you're just kind of like, you're just going from train to train, almost being like, all right, how's the energy? How's the energy?
You kind of led right into the next question, which I was going to ask, because I've heard at some of the shows, the way you guys do it is exactly that. Like if you're killing it, people end up getting a little bit extra time because they've like you let people ride their way.
Oh yeah, like a lot of times like comics will be like, how much time? I'm like, I'll give them a little frame, but I'm like, but listen, like if you're doing great, I'm gonna let you keep going. So don't worry about the time. Just tell me how much time you want before I give you the light. You know,
that's a great feeling. Like a lot of times I get in my own head when I'm like, oh, I can't go over 15, or I can't go over whatever number it is. And instead, it feels nice to be like, hey, if you're up there and you're flowing and you kind of lose track of time, you're gonna be able to.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a nice way to keep the comics on like a nice little easy like feel, and like not feel pressured, because that's the other thing too. Like especially like especially if it's like a comic that just got onto the show for the first time or something, I don't want them to be nervous. I understand the pressure sometimes. You know, I've been on that seat so many times. So I just try to like make sure they're just there to have fun, because once they do that, it's easy. And that's the big part about like hosting, being on stage, being a comic, is just once you're having fun, everything else is a cheat code, you know, because it just bleeds into like what you're doing naturally, what you've done naturally, like all these different shows, and the audience they instinctively pick up on it. It's like osmosis, you know what I mean? It's like a transference of energy, basically.
So I know Cars is one of your longest loves.
Oh yeah.
But we did surprise you here today with the longest relationship I think you've ever had. Oh, anybody?
yeah.
So we can invite in here. Can you come in here through the guest curtains?
Real quick? Like curtains from the
first time we're gonna have
the studio.
That's wild. Is this the first time y'all ever do this?
Yeah, I don't know how. Is there a hole there?
Gonna knock out the lights out.
Hold on. Is there? Where did he? There it is.
Oh,
there he is.
Tom
There he is,
Chamberlain.
Tom Chamberlain.
What's up, my brother?
Man, how you doing? Good to see you.
Good to see you, dude.
Wow.
You need a chair, dude?
No, I'll just pop.
No, yeah. Scoot in there next to him. There he is.
So real
Look at
quick,
that. Look at
surprise
this.
guest
There
Tom
you go.
Chamberlain.
Hey. So yeah,
Right?
you guys,
Cameraman, I'm telling you.
you guys both, obviously, like we were saying, you guys work together on these Don't Tell shows. We've seen you guys kind of tag team some of the best shows we've seen in South Florida in the last year, honestly, through different venues. I know you guys just did something in an airplane hangar, right?
Yeah, that was in Pompano, yeah.
Crazy, super dope. But talk a little bit about what this partnership is like and what it's like being like on a team for comedy. I know a lot of people try and do this thing by themselves, but I'm sure it feels good to have somebody else like pick up some slack every once in a while.
Oh my God, man! This man, like I tell him all the time, this man's the wind beneath my wings type shit, man. Like he's really been awesome, and it's amazing to be able to have like another person that you can like count on with these shows. Like, what are you, the thinker right now?
No, he was trying to frame himself.
I totally did not tell Ray this was gonna happen.
I'm gonna
So poor
screenshot
Ray
this
is- Sorry, Ray.
But no, I mean, this partnership's been absolutely amazing, and like it was like at first I didn't even like plan on it, right? Like it just kind of like happened, and then we're like.
You saw the chest hair, and you're like, I gotta have that on my team.
Yeah.
I'm selling, bro. He looks like a natural bodyguard
Right?
already. You know what I mean?
The older crowd, the older ladies in the crowd love it.
Yeah.
They do.
Well, listen,
Speaking
I know what it's like to work with a better looking person. You know what I mean? It's
Yes,
terrible. It's
Wait, hold up. Who's the better?
Yeah.
Wait a minute, right?
Who's the?
You just called Dean. You were calling Dean hot earlier. You were
for
calling
a
him
chick,
hot
yeah.
packer.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying, right?
For a guy, he's actually kind of ugly.
Like imagine this. Look, Tom, you tell me. Imagine this. The light is behind, right? So all you have is the profile. You have the Integras there. He's laying on the hood, right? Hair's flowing in the wind. You don't know, like.
No dude's gonna dap you up. They're gonna come at you like.
Like, how you doing, mama? Oh, it's that.
No, we did.
Oh, God.
Sorry, so we are going to be interviewing Tom here in a second. So we wanted to bring him in during your interview to surprise you, obviously.
Punk you a little bit.
But while we have you guys both here, I definitely want to ask one of the questions about Don't Tell, and that's going to be kind of, let's say 2025, 2026. You talked a little bit about getting to some of these rooms that you wanted to reach out to, but what are some, like, let's say, just big idea plans that you guys would love to see happen in 2025 or 2026 with the shows, like whether it's a venue or a specific comedian
Or with
the
yourselves.
content? Yeah,
Like, do you have a personal goal as well for yourselves?
Well, I meant-
beyond Don't Tell.
I meant on Don't Tell they're here together, then we're gonna.
Yeah. Kind of like to answer both questions, really. Like for Don't Tell, I know I would just love to see it become more consistent. Like we were talking about raising the legitimacy of South Florida. That's really what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a really awesome badge on South Florida comedy. And I know one day I'm gonna have to move out of South Florida and like go around and whatnot. But like I really want to be able to leave the scene in a much better place than I found it. I want Don't Tell to be a part of that, and I really want Don't Tell to be a place where comics, even like the newer comics, I want them to be able to aspire to be able to get onto these shows and really work hard, and not take it as like some kind of, like, people can take it as a hobby. That's completely fine. But I want there to be a standard for that, and I want people to reach for that standard, so that way once they see all the other comics reaching for it, it raises the tide, you know?
Yeah, legitimacy, like you said before, kind of
Yeah.
increasing the legitimacy of the scene.
But it's also something that, like, when like a comic sees one person reaching for it, they're like, okay, I want to reach for it now. You know, it's a way of like not motivating just one comic, but all the other comics to be like, all right, no, we can actually be a lot better.
Yeah, it's a
You know?
mindset. I think
Yeah.
instead of like if someone gets the gig, it's not like what do they have that I don't have. It's what do they have that I can get.
Yeah.
What are they doing that I'm not doing that I can easily do?
Mm-hmm.
And whether it's through figuring it out, through grinding out on stage, or just being like, hey, your shows are dope. What can I do to get on them? What am I not doing
Right.
that will put me on them?
And Tom, do you have any specific mustache goals for 2025?
Lots of rides.
Disney World.
So it's specific as it goes, because I know you guys right now, Fridays you're doing like generally Coral Gables neighborhood, Saturday generally the Miami Beach neighborhood. Is there any plans, like you guys are doing it every week already, so obviously the frequency is not going to increase more than every week, but maybe other towns or maybe, going on beyond just this? I mean, Miami's a huge town. There's opportunities everywhere.
Yeah, no, so because we also do it in Broward also. Like we do them in Fort Lauderdale, we do them in Davie, Weston, Parkland. We got Parkland coming up 25th. We're in Pembroke Pines, Miramar next month. We're always like we're able to do a lot of these, especially because it is me and Tom. We're able to expand a lot more, but also that's the thing I love about stuff. Like we're able to drive wherever and do them wherever. So we really haven't been just forced to be in Miami. We've really been like all over South Florida.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Because one of the things I would love to see, and I'm kind of challenging everyone on this, is like I would love to see more content coming out of South Florida. Biasly, I would like some of it to be on the comedy calendar so we can like showcase it to people. But that's one of the things that I would love to see is like any recaps or anything you guys do after the shows. We would love to put it on here and show people like, look, this is what you missed out on. Next time you have a chance, you don't want to miss out on the show. Sign up for it.
Yeah, see, that is one thing I'll say like I need to be better in. It is like because I'll do the pictures and we'll put them up on our Instagram and stuff like that. But we don't really ever do like the reels and like make it like this big whole like
the production.
Yeah.
Like I think it would be dope. Take it if you want, but I think one of the things that I think like has really helped Dom and doing the Have Nots thing is he takes the content from the shows and obviously with comic permission he's making clips from it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like just by putting that out, not only is it growing the Have Not page where some of those clips have gotten millions and millions and millions of views. Like some of those clips, like with comics that have never done big numbers on any of their posts, it goes through that channel, and just because it's in a collection of good stuff, it's getting blown out. You guys taking that content of like great moments, even if it's like crowd work moments, because I'm sure you guys get a lot of fucking awesome just interactions that you just take that and you put it out there, it'll go crazy, man. That's free content for you guys.
So we've done that like just personally. Like we started filming like all our sets and stuff and just putting out everything that we can. But we definitely could be a lot better in terms of really showing our stuff on social media a lot more. Just from like Don't Tell Miami's perspective. Yeah.
Look, if you guys are down, one of these next ones will definitely, I mean, one day that we're not working at the Improv, we'll swing by, just check out the show, because we have, like I was saying about Dark Vision, that's those kinds of packages, that's exactly what we're trying to work on. We're trying to make sure, because again, I want all the dope stuff that we're doing in South Florida to get recorded, to be online, so that 5-10 years from now people can go back and be like, look, we did this thing, it started all the way back then. Exactly.
It's like a yearbook almost.
And we're trying to do the best quality at the most affordable price, because at the end of the day, like the money's coming from our pockets, you know what I mean? So we try to make it as bootstrapped as possible to to make it work.
Well, this might be our longest interview ever. We are coming up on an hour and 15 minutes, guys.
Oh, really? Wow. Dang.
Yeah.
God damn.
Hour 15, everybody.
I didn't think that was that interesting, but okay.
What a yeah, right? What
Jury's still out, man.
Yeah. Tom, anything else you want to add before we get you in the hot seat, my man?
No, actually, I was just wondering when I can make my clean exit so you guys can wrap up.
Oh,
yeah, you can go touch up the mustache, and then we'll get you in the seat. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Heck
You
yeah,
guys are
man.
beautiful. Sorry to interrupt.
No,
Nice seeing you, dude.
I'll see you folks soon.
What a pleasant surprise. Tom Chamberlain, guys.
Wrap it up.
The first
drop-in guest in an episode of Comedy Calendar.
Look at that. I like that, man. I like when I'm the first for something, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We love that. First Pakistani guest.
Right,
First,
breaking all kind of barriers.
Yeah.
we also we have a thing coming up. There's gonna be first guest to be waterboarded if you're down.
Oh, I thought that was me, actually.
Well, no, man, but dude, it's really, honestly, it's been a great interview. You're one of the guys on here that's running some of the best shows in town. So for one of the things that we love providing for the scene down here for the younger comics that have come up to us and talked to us is like when we do these interviews with guys like you, guys like Ricky, Ellie, Dom, the people that are really taking this seriously and doing it at a high level. They love sitting and listening to these interviews because it gives them a roadmap. It gives them a little.
Can I just say something real quick?
Yeah.
When I first started, Ellie Rodriguez was like I call her sensei, right? She has been like one of like my biggest like mentors in stand up. And when I first started, I was seeing her in that like sense, and now I appreciate you like trying to put me in that light, man, because like I still feel like I have like so much more to do, especially down here in South Florida. But I mean, this is more of like a message to any of the comedians like watching, like you just keep going, and then one day it's going to end up being you. That's all this is. It's literally just it's a marathon, and you just got to keep digging. That's really
and it's funny because all those people, even Ellie, when she was on the show, like she had mentioned that, as well, that, when you start, you look up to these people and you get to this point, but we're all still, even at the points that we're at, still trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
We're still trying. We all have like high goals for ourselves. We all have more aspiration for bigger and better. And I think that, what you were saying about Don't Tell kind of elevating that level and raising the tide to it to a sense is something that is super true. And it's something we've talked to a bunch of producers, and all of them, we all have the same mindset in that sense of like better shows, better crowds, better comedians.
How's the saying go? Like a high tide raises all boats.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. And you're pioneering that right now with Don't Tell, and hopefully as it expands, I know it's going to be even more of a valuable tool for the South Florida scene, for sure. 100%.
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
Thank you. No, this was really fun, man.
Appreciate you coming in. And my takeaway is, if you ever do a podcast, it's got to be called Deep Shit with Dean. Because, dude, you say some stuff, like right now, like, you just keep doing it until one day it's you. Like, dude, that's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's
the problem is that's just me like 24/7.
Yeah.
So it becomes very annoying after like
Philosophical.
Yeah, like
record yourself saying like things that you're gonna think sound basic to you, but then just say it in that voice, it sounds so deep. Like, just keep doing it until one day it's you. It's like, dude, that's such a good.
It's like, I'll take a Big Mac, no lettuce.
Just keep doing it until one day you're a Big Mac.
It's something like that.
Yeah. But dude, thank you so much for being on the show, man. Is there anything else you want to shout out or anything that you want to kind of talk about before we get out of here?
No, man, this was so much fun. I really appreciate the opportunity. To in the comments, just keep doing it, keep hustling, and shit, let's go out and make people laugh, huh?
Yes, sir. Guys, that has been this week's edition of the South Florida Comedy Calendar, coming to you live from the Black Studio here in South Miami, guys, with the community newspapers. Big shout out to Dean. Huge thank you to him for coming on the show today and really laying down the law and laying down a really good explanation of what it's like to do comedy at a high level down here in South Florida. Huge shout out to Art as well for being my co-host today and doing the damn thing as he does every single week. Big shout out also to Rachel for running the show and making Art feel very insecure. That was really cool. Thank you, Rachel. You were, Ray, you may not know what you did, but you did it. Thank you. And of course, Julian for always being behind the camera and behind the screens, man, editing up and doing all the clips for this show. So thank you very much.
Doing the dirt work for me.
Doing the dirt work for me is a sentence that was just said by our Roche. We'll leave it at that, guys.
If you know, you know.
Thank you so much. Until next week, everyone, keep laughing.